All right, this will be the second time live stream, and I've got my wife here now, Homestead Honey, as we call her here.
Hi guys.
She does have a Instagram. If you want to follow that. We were hoping to get on here earlier, but getting the kids to sleep and then all that stuff, we end up running a little bit late. So anyway, I see one person's watching so far. You want to start us off?
Go ahead.
She's a little bit camera shy. Anyway, um, starting off, we lost power last week with the winter storm that came through, and they were calling for this one that came through today to be worse. But we had a lot of ice and stuff, but it didn't knock the power out or anything. So I don't think it was as bad as it was last week or as bad as they were expecting. So that's a good thing. There's still some people in this area. Uh, hey, how you doing? I see we got somebody in the chat. But anyway, still some people in this area that's still out of power from last week. So it's about 6, 7 days out of power. So that really sucks. We lost power for 2 days, something like that, and came back on. So not too bad. Wouldn't have been too big of a deal, but we had some pretty much newborn baby chicks. One of them was actually born Saturday morning, and we lost power Saturday night. So we had to get a generator going and get some heat lamps to it and all that stuff. So anyway, had all that taken care of. Been trying to get the things taken care of on the homestead. We have some projects coming up now. We got a bunch of fencing stuff from a buddy of mine the other day and some more rabbits and stuff like that. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit now. You might have to scoot up a little bit. I don't know.
Well, apparently the ice is the best time to make additions to the homestead.
But yeah, a buddy of mine is moving to a different state. They were going to fence their place in and end up it would be too much trouble to carry it with them. So we bought it from them, and we're going to try to fence in the rest of the field out here and either put in a cow maybe or some more goats or something like that. We just recently got a little baby goat the other day, and I'm gonna let you talk on that. That's kind of her deal.
Baby, but the farm that she came from, they pull her from mom as soon as she's born and give her the colostrum and everything from mom, but they're on the bottle. So she's about a week and a half old now, and one of our friends got her sister, so we're raising them together right now. And we got them 2 days ago.
Yep, looking forward to that. These are dairy goats. So far, we haven't been able to get any milk from any of our goats, but definitely looking forward to that. Personally, I like the goat milk better than I do the cow milk. So right now we have that baby one is a dairy goat, but it'll be a while before we get anything from her. And we have other one that is a dairy breed, but so far we hadn't got anything from her. We'll see. Hopefully, sometime soon we'll be able to get into that endeavor. So far, we've never had any milking goats or did any milking or anything like that. So that'll be a new experience and seeing the different things that we can use the milk for. Some people make soap out of it and, uh, you know, dairy products like butter and cheese and stuff like that. And of course, the milk and ice cream and everything like that. So that'll be pretty cool. really looking forward to the summertime coming back and getting the garden planted. That's something I enjoy a whole lot. I've been enjoying the greenhouse. Um, I'm kind of hoping for a little better results, but we've had a lot of trial and error, especially first time we've did anything with a greenhouse. We've raised gardens before, but the greenhouse is a new experience.
So are the rabbits
Hmm.
and the goats. It's a lot of trial and error.
The hogs, to a degree, we've had them before, but we never slaughtered them ourselves until this year. So that was a brand new experience on that end. It wasn't quite as bad as I was expecting. So anyway, what's your favorite part of the homestead?
Mm. Watching the children interact with them.
It's definitely a big plus. Something I really enjoy. I grew up around, a small farm and raising garden and working and things like that. So that's what we want to bring our kids up into. Especially this day and age, it's really easy for them to grow up and be lazy and hooked on video games and TV and stuff like that. So around here, we see it will happen. We're not, off grid and totally against technology, obviously, but there's a limit to everything. But side uh, really sucks in the way sick. But anyway, they would really rather be outside whenever possible. So that's a good thing. And yep, didn't waste a thing. But what you want to talk about?
What about the rabbits and what we're going to do with them? Why are you adding so many at one time?
Uh, Basically, opportunity arose. Um, we started off, we wanted to get some rabbits, and we started off. A buddy of mine picked up some. He got 9. We were trying to get a couple, but ended up going for a lot deal. So that was cool. We appreciate that, which I don't mind. The more animals, the better, in my opinion. And then we got 2 bigger rabbits from a buddy of mine, the one that's moving, and he had a bunch more rabbits and stuff. And when we got those 2, he hadn't decided to leave or anything. But then when he come up with it, it's too much trouble to move them and all that kind of stuff. So he's like, "Hey, you want some more rabbits?" So we ended up with some more, and
How many more?
honestly, it's bad. I hadn't counted them, but
I haven't seen these rabbits yet.
it's between 5 and 10, something like that.
That's a big difference when it comes to animals.
And 2 of them are, they said, is pregnant and should be giving birth within a day or 2. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully everything goes all right, and be adding to the herd or flock or whatever you call a bunch of rabbits. I'm gonna wait for you to talk.
Don't.
But yeah, um, things on the homestead is going pretty steady. Um, don't really know how to explain it, but it's always something new, something to do every day, and all that. The greenhouse is doing fairly decent. I was hoping for better results at this point, but we've had a lot of trial and error. But I've got a tomato that's blooming and another one that's getting ready to bloom, and I'm really looking forward to getting that first tomato or first harvest of anything out of the greenhouse. So that's going to be exciting. Um, I really like doing the greenhouse, and hopefully maybe next year or something we can build a bigger, more efficient one. Um, the one I got, it would be really good for just starting seeds and everything, but trying to grow year round, it's kind of limited on space. And for the summer when it gets hot, I don't have enough ventilation in there to keep it cool, and I don't really want to take the whole plastic off, and then you have all the rain and weather coming in, and we've got that heater out there would be getting ruined, and the shelves are built and stuff. It's all untreated wood since it's on the inside and everything, and that would be rotting and all. So don't really want to go with that. Um, One thing we were talking about earlier that she brought up is we want to, you know, up the fruit game. We got 4 apple trees, I think, and they're not old enough to produce anything yet. One of them had one apple on it last year, but the wind blew it off before it got ripe. So that kind of upset me a little bit. I was looking forward to that first apple, but adding more stuff like that, and like peach trees and stuff like that, where I really like those because you can plant them one time, and as long as you halfway take care of them and nothing happens to them, then you really ain't got to do a whole lot else. It'll basically take care of itself. Strawberry patch, we had pretty good luck with last year. We just planted it last year, and we got pretty good produce out of that. But we're going to move it this year. Actually, the patch where I had it at is where the rabbits are now. I brought them in the greenhouse at one time, but they just kind of sit there stale, not doing anything. So I'm making a bed around the greenhouse, and that's going to be the strawberry patch. And I'm looking forward to that because they come back every year too. So you can basically, plant them and let it go. So that's going to be good. And I'm going to do blueberries on the other side. I'm going to put in some grapevines and some blackberry bushes, but I don't know anything about grapevines, so that might be an epic fail. We'll have to wait and see.
One interesting thing about strawberry plants is you can buy 2 or 3 strawberry plants, and later on you'll end up with 5 or 6 because they make their own sister plants. They'll grow off of each other.
hmm And even in the short amount of time that we had them this year in the beginning of the spring or whatever, there was already like 1 or 2 plants that came off of them that was coming up. And if I remember right, we did get a little bit of strawberries off of one of them. But yeah, they'll kind of do their own thing. Another territory that we hadn't got into yet is like the herbal stuff, lavender and basil and things like that. Um, we had never grew any. I'm not exactly sure how to do that, and I'm also not sure how to harvest them and to make the different things out of them, like the essential oils and stuff. She's into that, and they do work on different things that we've used them for. So we want to learn how to be able to produce that our on our own.
What was your thoughts on the fencing with last week's storm?
Um, with last week's, we had one top breaker of a tree that was on the fence. It didn't knock it all the way down; it just kind of bowed it in. So I cut it off and straightened it back up and put another post to support it and all that. So it wasn't really too bad for us here, but I'm sure there was a lot of them that had a whole lot of fence work to do. But it is one thing to take note of. If you are planning on putting a fence up, you do have storms, wind, and ice, and sometimes trees just die and fall. So if you're putting fence around trees or through the woods or something, it is something to keep in mind that you need to keep it maintained because those things happen.
And if you put goats in there, they climb it to try to get stuff on the outside.
Yep, they do. They enjoy trying to eat the bushes on the other side because the grass is always greener on the other side, whether there's actual grass there or not. But Honestly, I'm probably going to regret saying this, but the goats have been easier to keep in than I expected because they're a lot easier to keep in than hogs.
Hogs will go back to the same hole that they came out of, though.
And generally, cows do too. If you have a cow get out there, you can have a cow get out and they'll walk a half a mile and be right there looking at a gate. And you try to get them through the gate, but they don't want no part of that. They're going straight back to that little hole that they gathered up, no matter how far you got to walk them to do it. Um, I really want to get a couple cows here, and I'm not sure if we'll ever be a big cattle farm or anything like that, but I'd like to have a couple because I've always just enjoyed being around cows, and since I kind of grew up with that, I know more about them than like goats and stuff. Um, I basically don't know anything about them. I always heard that you get a goat and throw it on the chain out in the woods and they'll eat all the bushes and briars and they're good to go and all that, but that's not true. They actually require a lot more maintenance than I was expecting. So luckily I got a good buddy that's helped us out on all that a few times. But as a matter of fact, we actually got one of their goats in the pen now. But I really like the goats. I really enjoy them more than I thought I would. Um, Especially like their goat, it's a lot more spoiled than ours are. Until this bottle baby, I'm sure that one will be, but that thing will just follow you around like a puppy dog. You can let him out in the yard and not have to worry about anything.
But he's also a bottle baby.
Yeah, and it probably does help to an extent. But anyway, um,
So within about a year and a half to 2 years, we'll be able to hopefully get milk off of our Nubian baby, which is what we just got. So, somewhat long term plan.
yeah, it's basically laying the foundation for the long term plan. Because once we get one producing and having more baby goats and stuff like that, hopefully we can just sustain the line and always have one that is giving milk and things like that. Um, Basically, this whole year, spent a lot of time and work and money putting into it, but basically, it's just laying the foundation to go off of in the next couple of years. Not really, anything profitable this year. Everything's kind of a dead loss, but it is what it is.
We've got at least one female pregnant right now, so we'll be able to tell what kind of kids our book produces and if we need to keep him or sell him. And so we'll probably be able to get some milk off of them too. Depends on how they go.
Yeah, that's what we've heard. These other ones that we have are the meat goat breed instead of the dairy goat, and they say that you can still milk them. They just don't produce as much or as long as the actual dairy breed. So that'll be interesting. I'm not sure if it tastes any different, the different breeds of goat or whatever, but it's a possibility. I'm not sure. Because before we put them in, we were talking about would we be better off to get like a dairy cow or the goats and stuff. But like I said, personally, I like the goat milk better, and the goats seem like that it would be cheaper to maintain because cows are a lot bigger. They take more space and more food and things like that, and we decided to go with the goats on that.
It's 4 months difference in gestation also. So you could almost have two does get out within the same time that it would take for a cow to calf out.
And yeah, I'm not as big on all the technical stuff and knowing all the different times and whatever. That's more of her thing. Um, Pretty much ever since we got the first goat, she kind of jumped in on that and the different goat groups online and stuff like that. She keeps up with those and she knows a whole lot more about them than I do.
And everything I can to make sure that we're ready for kidding season, and it'll still probably be a big learning curve.
Yeah, we'll probably be on the phone. It's like, hey, we might need some help.
We've had our first miscarriage on the farm from one of our does, so we got to experience that, as the first one, which is kind of a downer. But
And funny part is, the one that miscarried is actually my favorite goat. I think she's the biggest and prettiest. I think her mama was a show goat, if I remember right. And I was really hoping to get one from her, but didn't work out this time. But we'll try it again, and hopefully everything will work out better next time, and you know, stuff like that. It just farm life is what it is sometimes.
and this would have been her first one, so
Yep. Um, all of our goats except one are really young, and especially the bottle baby. She's what, a little over a week.
week and a half,
Yep.
8 pounds.
Yep. Tiny little thing. I honestly didn't know how tiny baby goat was like that, but it's basically just a little bit bigger than a house cat.
Maybe a little bit taller.
Yep. But they seem to be doing good. They're definitely full of energy and big appetite, so things are good on that end.
And they're not happy if you don't come out there with a bottle. They don't want you to just look at them, play with them. They want food.
Yep. And moving along on that, as far as the garden, like I said, I really enjoy that. Ever since I was a kid, I've enjoyed growing stuff and having little gardens and stuff like that. We actually made our garden probably probably twice as big, would you say, this year? Maybe,
Depends
time
on
and a
which
half.
one you extended.
Yeah, something like that. But I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping we have a better year on that this year. Last year, our tomatoes were really terrible. We didn't get but a few off. Most of them just rotted on the vine. Even we picked them early, when they were just barely turning red, and they would just bust open. They wasn't any good. But last year was a wet year, and so far this year it's been too. But we had a lot of cloudy days, and I don't know.
It's a lot of rain.
I don't know a lot about it, but there's been a lot of people talking, a lot of videos about a grand solar minimum, and so far, I'm on board with that. I believe it. We The last couple of years, it's been not near as much sunshine as past years, and it's definitely been a lot more cloudy and rain, and a lot more cold weather with all the snow going on in places like Texas. It just doesn't happen, and now it's happening. So it's going to be interesting to see, and it's definitely be a good time to be prepping. Hopefully you already are, but if you haven't, you definitely need to start. And um, I don't remember if she's only made a couple of videos. She's not as into it as I am, but I don't remember if we ever addressed when she really got into prepping, because like 2018 or something, I started watching the videos and kind of getting into it, and getting a little bit here and there and stuff like that, but we hadn't really got serious into it. Or was it like late 2018, early 2019, something like that? And then early last year, 2020, is when she first started getting into it. So you want to tell your side of it?
Well, everything is more expensive when you have kids, and at this point, we have three. They're all 2 years apart. So being able to provide for them and knowing what goes in their food is a big thing for us. Um, as you mentioned before, you're raising your kids in it can sustain their future. So that's something that I wouldn't say we're really pushing for it, but we're getting the knowledge in them. That way they can use it when they need to.
And another thing, um, everybody may have different opinions on it and everything, but them growing up in it, and like sometimes you just have animals die, and sometimes they're there for a purpose, like the hogs, and we're going to be raising uh, meat rabbits, and we've got some chickens. We're going to start doing meat chickens on that, especially the roosters and stuff. And they're learning from a young age that sometimes things die, and sometimes I mean that's where your food comes from and stuff. Like when we killed the hogs and stuff, it didn't upset them any at all. It's just it's that time, and you got it done.
Came out and helped with the processing. And
Hmm. And that's really something that I wanted to instill in them before they're like 13, and you know a deer pet dies or something like that, and it's like mind blowing. Um, like I said, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I think it makes it easier for them to understand and cope with it at a younger age, and then like I said, later down the road, and something like that devastates them. And I don't know, it's just it seems like if they get used to that and they know where their food comes from, and they grow up working and having responsibilities and things like that, it seems to have them more prepared for the real world when they get out in it, because they'll go to school and then go to college or whatever, but then after that, when you get in the real world, everything's different. you know you have a lot more responsibilities than like going to school, just learning education and whatnot. You kind of got to provide for yourself because nobody's going to do it for you.
I think another thing with it is, as far as getting them used to nature, you hear all the time of a kid getting lost in the woods or separated from parents, anything like that. And to be able to prepare them for the just in case of it, if they happen to get off trail or anything like that, which God forbid it ever happened, but I'd feel more comfortable knowing that they knew something about it than absolutely nothing.
Hmm. It's definitely something to think about, and um, it's definitely a whole different situation when you have kids versus if it was just us two together. I'm not sure if we'd be prepping, but we definitely wouldn't be doing it as serious as we are. That's definitely a driving factor. And I can't remember where I heard it, but I heard a long time ago, when you have kids and stuff, that you're not raising kids, you're raising young adults. And that's another thing that we, like I said, we wanted to instill all that in them, and you know, teach them to work, teach them respect, teach them things that will actually benefit them in life, like different skills of surviving in the woods if you happen to be in that situation. Teaching them, you know, not to trust strangers and those type of things. And later on, as they get bigger, be teaching them some more self-defense things and stuff like that. And it just is what it is. Boys are one thing, but girls, I think they need a lot more skills and a lot more self-defense stuff because usually girls are the ones that end up being victimized. So that's something we definitely talked about and thought a lot about.
And they enjoy learning. I mean, they love getting out in the middle of the woods and doing whatever dad says, learning the different trees and what to put in the fires to make what exactly. And they're just in second half.
Yep. Our oldest is 5, but she is unbelievably smart, almost to the point that it's hard to keep up with sometimes.
An old soul.
Hmm.
Hmm.
She picks up on stuff quick, and she's a very serious kid. She'll run and laugh and play sometimes, but a lot of the time she's dead on serious, and she thinks she's bigger than she is. A lot of times she'll be like, "I'll help you with the kids," and it's like, "You're still a kid too," but she enjoys doing that and being a big sister.
She also likes knowing the why of everything. She know a lot of kids ask why at certain points in life, but when her pet goat died, she wanted us to tell her where she was buried at so she could dig her up and look at it just to see how it was, to see if she could figure out what happened to her. And it really just struck me as odd coming from a 5 year old.
She is so smart that a lot of times if you're talking about something and she'll ask you why on one part and you answer it, and she'll already know how that connects to part 2 and 3 before she even asks the question. So that's a good thing, but it's kind of interesting sometimes. It's really hard to keep stuff, dumbed down on a kid level because she's just so smart. It just that doesn't fly with her. She knows better.
She's not satisfied with a simple answer.
Hmm. But it does keep you on your toes. Um, I've done a lot of talking, a lot of videos on projects we got going on and what we're going to be doing in the future and stuff like that. So, what's some of your future goals for this year?
Processing the chickens would probably be one of the first and foremost ones on it. Um, and learning the kitten season is big interest.
Yep. Um, I don't really know. Like I said, I've said a lot of things that we're planning on doing, but I'm not really a plan type person. I'll get something in my head and it's like, do it right now. I'm a very impatient person. Um, just like the rabbits, honestly, it popped in my head one day and I started building the cage. And when she came home, it's like, hey, we're getting rabbits. So
By now, it's just okay.
sometimes I think I'm maybe interesting to live with. But yep, Doc Bar, exactly. The girls need it worse than the boys. That's what I think so, because that's usually what you see, and take them shooting more than boys. Yep. We're definitely, like I said, they're real small and young right now, but we're going to be getting into that as they get older, and definitely teaching them those skills and things like that. And another thing that I really want to instill in them is just plain situational awareness. Just being smart enough to see a bad situation and not be in it, and things like that goes a long way too. And like I said, I think our oldest won't be any problem with that. She's really smart, and I'm not saying the other ones are, you know, less intelligent, but
They're young.
and we just hadn't seen that trait yet, So hopefully they all will be.
And situational awareness in children is very fun and interesting, especially in a public setting. Somebody will go by and, why is that man looking at me? That man is coming this way, and it's no hush tone to it whatsoever.
Yeah. But yeah, it definitely makes it interesting.
Have you told them about Buddy?
Um, Not particularly, but we have a little chicken that we hatched out of the incubator, and it's kind of been our buddy, so that's what we named it. Ever since it was born, most of them don't really want anything to do with you. They don't want you to hold them or rub them or anything like that. But this one is. This one, we bring it in every now and then, let the kids play with it and things like that. And I posted that short video on here probably a week ago or something like that of doing a couple push-ups with that thing on my back. It'll sit up on your shoulder and all kind of stuff like that. But it's pretty interesting. Lone Star Pioneering, how you doing? Annie Oakley, yep. Funny thing about that, some of our really close friends, they have girls as well, and the oldest one, is a really good shot. It seems like a lot of times females are actually better shots than the males are for some reason. I don't know if they just, concentrate harder um, or what, but it does seem to be that way.
I think it's important to keep the girls going more than the boys, and mainly because you kind of force them to pay attention to it and keep up the practice, because they get easily distracted with any and everything else. I mean, I do, but it seems like men, they kind of just stay on course with it, and it doesn't bother them to train it.
And that's kind of one of our different personalities. Um, I have the personality that, you know, whatever I'm doing, I can be working on something or operating something or whatever, and I can keep a conversation unless I'm driving. If I'm driving and talking, I'm gonna miss a turn every time. But I can be building something, running equipment, um, welding, or anything like that, and have a conversation, or doing whatever multitasking and things where she's a one thing at a time person, but not in a bad way. I mean, when she focuses on that one thing, I mean, it's done right. She has a little bit of OCD, but she does that one thing. But yeah, Lone Star, give me a second to invite friend. Yeah, invite them over. Um, like I said, so far this is the second live stream that I've done. The first one went pretty good. I enjoy doing this. It's pretty cool to actually be able to interact with people versus just making a video and talking straight through like that, being able to bring up different points of the conversation.
We were talking about fencing earlier, and I think it's important to make sure if you have livestock that has to be separated, to have good separation pins for them, and the ability to block off a different section if part of the fence goes down with trees or whatever were to come past it.
hmm And that's what we did last week when we had that top down. She went out there and ran them over to the other side and blocked them off and stuff. Um, we have like three different sections that we can block off, in our little goat pen, which I do want to make it bigger one day. But anyway, it takes a little bit more of a fence to be able to cut it off like that, and a couple gates and stuff like that. But it's honestly worth it because you will use it at one point in time or another. Whether you got something down on the fence or you're just trying to corral them in one place so you can, do some veterinarian stuff and all. It's nice to be able to keep them in one area. What's the topic? And Doc Bar says guns, chickens, and prepping. Pretty much. That's all you need right there. But yeah, we can talk about basically whatever, any kind of questions you have or anything like that. But that's kind of what I focus on the channel is homestead prepping stuff. Like I said, I started out, we were doing a little bit of prepping, and then this year we kind of moved to the homestead stuff. And I do logging and stuff for work and play a little bit of bluegrass music, guitar and banjo, stuff like that. But anyway, it's a good time. Nothing edited. Hi, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing good out there and everything's good. You staying warm and dry. But yeah, I appreciate that, Lone Star. I really like to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can hit that mark sometime in the future. But it is what it is. I think it's kind of hard when you're a smaller channel to get out there, in the spotlight to pick up subscribers and a watch base and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I've been making videos probably a little over a year or something like that, and it's been really slow growing, but I'm gonna keep making them. So hopefully y'all enjoy them. I always say I would like to have a smaller circle of, really good people that enjoy it than, a huge audience that's just trolls and stuff. So that's really what I do it for. Chilean, Southwest Texas. I haven't been there, but I've seen a lot of videos and pictures of some really nasty weather out there. Staying warm and dry so far. Well, that's good. We are too. So far, like I said, we were really expecting to lose power today with this second storm that came in, but so far we're sitting pretty good. Like we were saying earlier, the essential oils and stuff, we want to learn how to raise our own and be able to make those and stuff because they come in pretty handy, and that's more of her deal. So I'll let her tell a little bit about those.
I haven't been into them for long, but with having the kids, it's always nice to have something on hand because ours give us a run for our money with the.
And especially this year with everything being shut down and you basically got to be dying for a doctor to see you, it's really nice to have some at home stuff to lean on.
So we were able to learn which ones worked on burns and teething,
Hmm.
fevers,
A lot of stomach issues.
um, respiratory issues,
Hmm.
that type of thing. And it gives us an alternative to cleaners. So it's really
Yep.
nice.
Like I said, that's more of her department, so I didn't think about that. But like the thieves oil and stuff, that's a really good cleaner.
There's the thieves cleaner, which is made for the cleaner, and the thieves oil helps for your body. It can also help in dental areas also.
Hmm.
And I know most of the local dentistries around here were shut down for over 6 months because they were afraid to see anybody who might have the virus.
and pretty much anything that you would go to the doctor for is a symptom of it. So they could basically have any excuse not to see you. But yeah, Lone Star says need to add a few moderators to the live feeds. Probably so, but I honestly don't know anything about that. Like I said, this is the second one I've done, and I'm not exactly sure how to do that or who I would get to do that or anything like that yet. But hopefully, as I go on and grow a little bit, I'll be able to get into that. I've got a few of the bigger channels that are friends of mine. We talk a lot, and they can help me learn a lot of this stuff. But it's definitely interesting, and it's really fun to do. Like I said, I made videos for probably a little over a year, and I did the first live stream the other day. I just finally got a decent web camera for my laptop. Um, the ones that come in it from the factory are not very good. So I just, plugged it in and said I'd give it a try, and it went pretty good. I think I went for an hour, a little bit over an hour with back and forth with a few people, and I decided I'd try to get one in tonight and um, get her on and stuff. And uh, she has a different point of view of our whole homestead and prepping deal than I do. So maybe it'll bring some different info to the table. She's also more the planner and organizer type than I am. Like I said, I'll just when I decide to do something like building something, instead of mapping it out or whatever, I'll just grab a bunch of wood and screws and go for it and kind of learn as I go and things like that. So it's um, kind of an opposite deal. They always say opposites attract, but anyways, we got a little of both going on. Yeah. Hey, Southern Prepper Boy. Good to see you here. Trying to keep up with the chat a little bit here. I don't want to miss anybody. But yeah, um, we've also been trying to learn more medical stuff here recently. Um, Neither one of us has had a big background in that, and I think that's a really important part to being more self-sufficient and you know homestead prepping, SHTF, all that kind of stuff. Um, so I've got a buddy of mine that we've done a few trainings with and stuff's kind of coached us along a little bit and get some basic stuff down, basic stop the bleed and um, different things like that, trauma style stuff. And it's something I've learned a little bit about, but I hadn't practiced it enough for it to be second nature yet. So that's something I need to work on. But definitely tourniquets and chest seals and bleed stop and stuff like that is something that you need to have and know how to use. And we've been working with her on that. And like I said, neither one of us come from that background, so it's a new experience. So, do you want to go over some of that?
I think you have a question.
Let's see, where are you guys from? We're in Virginia. Um, yeah, Lone Star. I'll do that. After we get done here, I'll find them and do that.
I think with the medical training, we should have had it done sooner. We kind of got thrown under the bus with it, with the children and with him. Um,
Sometimes I'm accident prone.
sometimes, only sometimes. We've got one that is very accident prone. Anything and everything happens to her. She can walk across the floor and fall on the floor and bust her face open. And it's happened before. That actually happened at the beginning of COVID, and nobody would see her
Yep.
because she had a hole in her face. So they was afraid they was going to catch the virus.
And going back to that, um, we live in a pretty small area, pretty rural. Everybody, seems pretty common sense and things like that. If you'd have told me 2 years ago that this thing would have popped up and people in our area would have reacted to it like that, I would have never believed you. Some of these people around here have lost their mind over it. I mean, it's this whole thing has been a big split down the middle divide throughout the whole country. You're either on one side or the other, and not even from a political standpoint, just from the virus itself. I mean, it's crazy. I do know that it's real and it will kill some people, but I mean, flu and pneumonia and stuff like that does too. And I mean, it's crazy. I don't think it's near as bad as they make it out to be. I think that's just a whole lot of political crap that they push. But like I said, in our area, it's been a couple people that have died of it, but it's by and large not a thing here. But anyway,
We have around 100 chickens right now.
give or take a couple.
Depends on what day it is.
Yeah. Um, we were raising some more small ones and end up different things. Whatever, we lost 4 or 5, something like that. But we have probably close to 100 around, something like that. Um, as the weather gets better, probably in March or something, we're going to start hatching some more eggs in the incubator and things like that because, so far we've been doing good. It's been cold here, but the incubator will still go and heat lamps and all that. But like the other day when we lost power, we had to run the generator pretty much constantly to keep the incubator and the heat lamps going so we wouldn't lose them.
No. That being said, with close to 100, over half of them are not full size.
Hmm.
So it's not to the overwhelming point yet.
Yeah, we have a lot of the Bantam chickens, smaller. Um, they're not as big as far as using for meat and everything, but the eggs are almost as big, and I actually like the flavor better than the full size eggs. So it's kind of give and take on that. But if you hadn't tried them, try a couple. I hear you on that. Nothing edited. I hear you on that. Um, we're not either. I don't see a need to. Number one. Number two, I don't trust anything about it. I don't trust what's in it. I don't trust how fast they, you know, found one and pushed it through. And I don't trust the ones that are pushing it. So it's 3 strikes or so for me. Or, Um, Southern prepper, Southern boy prepper. I would say it really depends. Like I said, we could be doing them, incubating now. We had the incubator in the house for like 2 or 3 batches of hatching, and the last one, when I built the like brooder room outside, we put it out there, and it still, you know, kept up to temperature and everything through the cold and everything. But just if you lose power, but that could be in the summer or anything. If you lose power, it may hold the heat, and you just have to manually turn them. So it's kind of hard to say on that. Um, Anytime you have small ones, you are still going to need a heat lamp in the very beginning, even if it's summer, to make sure that they don't get too cold. What we do, we have a pretty uh, big tub that we have them in. So you have the heat lamp in one corner, and if they get cold, they'll go to it. If they get hot, they're able to move away from it. You wouldn't want a small box or a small little thing for them with the heat lamp because they may get too hot. You'd really have to pay more attention to the temperature that way. But so far, it's worked out pretty good for us having that big space and having it in a corner. That way, if they get cold, they'll go to it, and if not, they'll move away so they don't get too hot or too cold. They kind of maintain themselves.
One thing about having the brooder room is you need to make sure that you have a window in it or either have a light on it, because if you don't have a light in there, then they won't eat. And then when they get bigger, they won't lay.
Yeah, that's true. Um, like I said, a lot of times I'll throw something together and all that, and the same way with the but I probably will try to make some sort of window with the screen wire so in the it warm in there, but be able to open it and get some airflow in there and be able to get more light in there during the summer. So that's a future kind of add on I want to do. Um, like I said, so far, one thing I've learned with homesteading and prepping, but especially homesteading, there's always, you'll say, I want to do this project and do it this way, and it's going to be done. I ain't got to do anything else to it. But then sooner or later, hey, I need to do this, or hey, I need to do that, or change this a little bit and different things. And same way with the greenhouse, we did a lot of tweaks on that to get it, doing pretty good. To start with, we basically trying to grow in it in the dead of winter instead of just waiting till spring and starting to see seeds in it, or late fall and kind of trying to raise something. But so we started out with the hoop design and plastic on it to get the sun in there and heat it up. And during sunny days, it will definitely work. You don't need the heater. When it's like 50 degrees outside, it'll be 100 in the greenhouse. I do need to work on some kind of self-opening vent for when it gets hot, so it doesn't get so hot in there when we're not here to open the door. But like I said, it gets hot in there. We had a small space heater, electric one, to run when it gets cold. And when it got down in the 40s, maybe upper 30s, it still kept it warm enough in there. But then when it got down in 20s or so, it wasn't. The propane buddy heaters in there to help it out. And, I mean, that works, but we, really didn't want to go that way. It was kind of a lot of bulk in the way, and the electric heater kind of run the light bill up a lot. So we ended up putting a 12,000 BTU wall unit in there and hooking it to our main propane. So we ain't got to worry about it now. And also, if we just had that electric heater in there, when the power went out the other day, then all the plants we worked so hard to grow in there would have been done for, because it was like 20 degrees outside and snow and ice and stuff. And if you had no power in there, it wouldn't last very long.
We did make the greenhouse ourselves. He did most of the work for it. We didn't start it until the 1st of November. Um, just kind of worked with some things that we already had here and trying to do some inexpensive work to it. So um, we don't do good building stuff together. I usually just try to leave and he do his own thing.
Because that's kind of a flaw on my end. I don't like to accept help, and I definitely don't ask for it. I will find some kind of way to do it myself. With the exception of some things, it's just impossible. But if it's any kind of way to figure out some kind of way, like hooping those panels, you nail one side is good, but then when you got to bend it over and hold it and nail another one, um, it's kind of hard. So I would bend it over, and I took ratchet straps and tightened it down to the pallet, and then nailed it that way, so I'd be able to do it myself. And a lot of times, um, She would help, definitely. She really likes doing that and all, but a lot of times we just don't have anybody to watch the kids. So one of us would have to be watching them. So it's only one left to do the job. So kind of ends up being that way some kind. But I made a couple of videos, different ones about the greenhouse, and I did one, I think, of kind of layout of building it and stuff. But what we did is took pallets for the bottom structure, and then we took those cattle panels for a hoop, and then covered it with plastic. And that's basically it on building it. And if you were somewhere that didn't get really cold, if it the coldest day would be like 40 degrees, I doubt you would even need a heater in there. Just the sunlight would do it. And I did see some other videos online of different ones that had no heat in there. They would take like black barrels or uh, you know like jugs or anything like that and paint them black to absorb the sunlight, and heat up during the day, and they would kind of stay warmer during the night, kind of like trying to, I don't know what the word is, but kind of insulated a little bit, kind of, and different things like that might work for you. Um, C clamps, yep, that would help too. Um, Honestly, ratchet straps were, right there, so I grabbed them and used that. Um,
And you still had to run a prize bar through the cattle panel.
one of them, it fit pretty good, but one of them it just didn't want to cooperate for some reason, so we did have to do that, give it a little extra encouragement. But anyway, it wasn't too bad. And I was going to say something else, but I forgot what it was now. But anyway, on the greenhouse, as far as the cost, we did T-post. We did two T-posts, and then we slid a pallet over it. But honestly, you'd be better off to get like 4-inch wood screws and screw them together. Would be cheaper and would actually hold better. So, say the T-post aside, you can find some pallets for free, but ours was at a local store and they're in good shape and everything. So they were $2 a piece. So it still wasn't bad. I didn't mind paying that. And we did the cattle panels were like $30 a piece, so it'd be $60 for those two. And I got the roll of plastic for like $45, something like that. So what I did originally was I covered it in the plastic and everything like that. And I just took one of the pallets and I cut the plastic off, above it and kind of draped it over it. And I used that one pallet as a gate, but it didn't seal very good. And it was kind of a pain having to duck down so low to get in and out. So I ended up building a door. Like I said, I'm not a great carpenter, but it does work better. And going with that, I really haven't done much carpentry stuff or building anything till this year when we started doing all this. First project was the chicken pen was the first thing we got, and then building on different things here and there, and then we built the smokehouse, which was totally a new thing for me. Even doing the greenhouse or doing the chicken pens or anything like that, I didn't build a roof, you know, so that was a new experience for me, and so far, it's holding up. We hadn't got 2 foot of snow up there or anything, but so far it's doing its job. Y'all have a big garden. Honestly, I don't measure anything, but I think I made some videos back in the summer when we had the garden and stuff, kind of, as a layout and everything. It was a pretty decent size. I mean, we got enough stuff out of it to, you know, last us through a year. We hadn't barely scratched it through this winter. We definitely had the green beans were the most producing thing. We had 6 rows of those, and we got like 114 quarts that we canned, not counting what little bit we ate and give to different friends and stuff. 'Cause I know we give 3 or 4 grocery bag fulls away at different times, and the potatoes did pretty good. The tomatoes let us down. The corn didn't do great on our first crop, but we planted a later one, and that came in pretty good. So I think on the first one we ended up planting it too early, and it was just stunted. And we did plant one crop too early that it just we got a late frost and it just killed everything. We had to start over from scratch. So, and this year, with everything going on and adding more people in our group and stuff like that, we did make it bigger. It's probably close to twice as big, maybe twice as big as it was last year. And also last year, we really hadn't planned on a garden until right there at time. So we basically tilled it up and planted behind the tiller. So we had a lot of weeds in it. But since we worked it this year and we tilled it up a couple weeks ago, so it would go ahead and be laying over and killing the grass and weeds in it. So hopefully this year it'll be easier to maintain, less grass and weeds and things like that. And we have pretty good dirt here. It grows really good. It's kind of like a black dirt. I don't really know what you call it, but um, basically it's pretty rich soil. It's not like sandy stuff or red clay dirt or anything like that. When I was a kid, over at my grandma's house, that's what they had was that red clay dirt, and you could grow stuff, but it definitely wasn't as easy, and you didn't get as good of a crop as you should have because it was just so hard that when it would rain and that land would just turn to concrete.
The squash didn't do good last year.
hmm what was the size of the greenhouse? Not exactly sure. I can measure that for you, but basically what we did was was it 3 pallets across the back, and it would be 3 across the front, other than the door. But we did 2, and then we had one as a gate at that time until we changed the door. So it was 3 across the back and 3 across the front, and we did 4 along the sides, and they're what 4 foot wide, something like that. So
I think they're 43 inches.
yeah. Um, what we did 2 cattle panels, and I forgot how wide they are, but there is a gap in the middle. It didn't completely cover, they won't touching like this, but there is a little gap. But so far we hadn't had it, you know, draped down in the middle or anything. Um, one thing I thought was a good idea at the time, and it may be biting me, is I actually double wrapped it to make it, you know, more tough against the sun. And if a stick or something would hit it or ripping and stuff. And I think that's cutting out a lot of the light, so it's kind of hurting the plants on getting sunlight. But we have some grow lights in there. Difference because the tomato plants were coming up, nice and pretty, and then they would start wiltering and everything. But we put the grow lights in there, and they're doing pretty good now. I'm feeling the burn already. Prepper Nation's in the house. How you doing? Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that too. That's going to be a really good time going on the Shogun Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, we'll all have power and not lose any. Okay, Doc Barr's got to run. Great visiting with y'all. Be back. Keep up. Yep. I hear on that. It's actually running about midnight here, so it probably won't be too long. We'll have to head to bed too. But I appreciate you stopping in. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoy making these videos and doing all this and interacting with you. And I do watch Prepper Nation a lot, just about all his videos that comes out. Probably not all of them because that dude's a workaholic. He's got at least one every day. But I follow him on Patreon too and everything. And I really appreciate how much he does for the smaller channels and things like that. A lot of the bigger prepper channels, that's all they focus on is themselves, and ones that are in that tier, and you know help them along. Yep, he definitely does. Always good stuff though. Always very interesting topics, and tells it like it is. All right, nothing edited. Good night. I appreciate you coming on here, and we'll catch you next time. Um, I started a cup of coffee when we got going here, so I'm good to go now. Turn the electric logs on. It's getting a little warm in here now. Um, Usually I'm a hot natured person and stuff, where she's a little more um, chilly, which it don't seem like it now. I'm in a long sleeve shirt and she's in short sleeves, but usually she's a summertime hoodie wearer. And I don't know if y'all care about it or not, but that's one of my personality traits. If I'm going to wear a jacket or something, I like it to button or either zip. I can't stand a hoodie. That's not my deal. Yeah, Lone Star. He definitely is. Like I said, he's helped a whole lot of people, and I talk to him here and there and stuff like that. Kind of stay in touch, and I'm going to be on Shogun Saturday night if everything goes as planned. So looking forward to that. I follow him on the different things. He's got Instagram now, and they have a big group on MeWe. If you hadn't checked that out, he's on there, and I'm on there, and Grim Survival's on there too. If you've checked him out, I was on his live stream probably a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or something, and that was definitely fun. It's kind of one thing he wanted me to do more live streams and all, being able to interact like that. John says he's a regular dude like anybody else, but that's not quite true. He's probably more running on more coffee than most of us regular folks. Like I said, I'm on my first cup. He's probably done been through about three of them by now. But anyway, I don't want to hog the show. It's time for you to talk. Another thing that I would like to do in the future is to get like a workhorse or a mule, um, something to be able to pull a wagon or pull a plow if you had to do that. We had a couple of horses before, and that's one thing she's definitely got a soft spot for. And our kids, they hadn't been on a horse yet, other than a little small thing at the fair or something, but they talk about horses all the time. You want to talk about that?
The ones that we had before were mainly for riding every now and then whenever we have a chance to. But as far as getting a workhorse, that might be something for later on down the road. We have had three.
Yeah, three. I had one originally when we first got together. That was kind of crazy. She was not a fan of being rode, and she didn't like to listen real good. Sometimes she did all right, but sometimes she had a mood about her. But anyway, it was a Tennessee Walker, really pretty horse. But when you ride her, you would have to hook the harness, to where she couldn't pick her head up because
The breastplate.
yeah, the breastplate, because she would try to buck every now and then when that mood striked her. But the horse she had was what, 17 hands.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was a tall horse, but he was really good natured. You could do anything you want to with him. And
Unless you had a car around him.
yeah, he didn't like vehicles too well, but
He liked his reflection too
yeah.
much.
Um, we that was she had him when you were pregnant, weren't you, with the first one? Or right before then?
Mm-mm.
Uh, I don't
Pregnant with
exactly
Debbie,
remember.
my daughter.
Uh, Pregnant with number two then. But anyway, like I said, with the kids coming along and being that small, we didn't really have a lot of time with them. Unfortunately, he got down. He had some internal problems, and he didn't make it. And we gave the other one away since we only had one then. And she was crazy anyway. But maybe in the future we'll be able to get a couple good tame horses and be able to do that as a family and everything. Because I think the kids would enjoy that too. And I know I enjoy stuff like that, and she's big into horses, so that's one thing that it was a lot of work and maintaining to take care of them, but it's definitely something that we miss.
And they weren't the workhorses, but every time the hogs got up before, he'd have to go after the hogs where we couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah, that's right. I did ride him a couple times for that. Um,
Couldn't run her fast.
on the hogs, we had them the first time about 6 years ago, something like that. I think 6 or 7, and those things, they would not stay up for anything. They get an idea they're coming out and they just bulldoze. But luckily, the ones we had this time, they only got out once. Yeah, once. So that was definitely a learning experience too with those other ones. I had a woven wire pen. Maybe one day I'll make a video on that or something, but it was, woven wire all the way around and things like that. But they would just push through that like it wasn't nothing. So I took and made a fence on the inside with barbed wire, 4 strands about that far apart. But I did put electricity on that, and that stopped them then from going out. So that's what we did with these this time too, was run that electric fence. And one time that it was down, uh, I forgot the box went bad, and that's when that one got out. So we got them back and got it fixed and got a new box put on there, and we didn't have any more trouble out of them. But yeah, Southern boy, my daughter wants a horse. I think that's a girl thing, especially girls in the country. That's kind of what they grow up. All of them are into horses, basically. But
It's a lot of work.
our kids want a unicorn, but I haven't been able to find one yet. So if y'all know of a unicorn farm right there, let me know. Yeah, Lone Star. I enjoy having her on here, and hopefully, then she'll be back more often. How do you like the live stream? I know she's not really a big fan of just coming on here and talking, making videos and stuff, but maybe the live stream's a little more interesting for
Um, being able to know what people want to talk about, I think makes it easier for the videos and all.
her.
Wasn't really prepared for the live at all, but here we are.
He says Biden has a unicorn farm. I don't know if he actually has one, but he probably believes he does, and that's all that matters. Y'all make it look easy. I appreciate that, but we have our days, and that's mainly because, like I said, sometimes I have a um, an attitude. Um, can't think of the word right now, but probably ego and all those good things. But sometimes she has a lot to put up with and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, um, I really enjoy doing the homestead and stuff. And if I'm having a really terrible day, I come home from work and it's been a really one of those days and stuff. Um, I really like doing the homestead stuff, tending to the animals and all. But really, like I said, when I have the garden or being able to do stuff in the greenhouse, I'm happy. I could do that all day. Um, that's one thing. Another thing that I think both of us has found is when we decide to do something like building a smokehouse, building a greenhouse, whatever. It's like when you start the project, it's like, okay, I got something to do and I got a goal and all that. But then when you get it finished, it's like, what do I do now? It This year has been so fast paced and so much stuff going on that honestly it gets to the point when you get done with stuff or you get a like a standstill time, you get bored really quick. It's like I need to build something. So it's definitely different.
It hasn't even been a year since we started everything back into operation.
I I'm not good at keeping up with things, but I think we started adding the chickens last year in what March,
It was March or April.
March or April, something like that. So basically, we did all this stuff in less than a year. And like I said on my last live stream, with the garden stuff, like I said, with all those green beans and stuff coming in, we only had one canner, and that was a big time consumer right there. Definitely. This year we have like two or three, so that's going to help a whole lot because when you would get in, you know, what do you think we usually had wise of snaps when we picked them? Because it was usually about two 5 gallon buckets.
Well, all the rows didn't come in at one time either, so that made it easier to separate them as far as growth. Because if we had all 6 rows at one time,
Yeah,
we never finish them.
what we did, I think, was planted 3 rows, and then about 2 weeks later, planted the other three. So something like that. But you still get about two 5 gallon buckets of pick in there to 3 rows. And like I said, I can't remember now. I would say we probably got what 20 quarts
We usually
or
run
maybe a
three
little
to four
more.
canners.
Yeah, and they hold 7 quarts apiece. And like I said, we had that one, so you would have to do seven. You would have to get it all in the jars, put it in there, get it up to temperature, and then you would have to run the pressure canner for what 30 minutes
Hmm.
on that batch, and then it would take another probably 20 minutes for it to come down off of pressure and cool off and take the jars out and things like that, and then start the next process where running two canners you could do 14 quarts at a time. And if you did pints, our canners are we have two tall canners and one short one, but they'll all hold quarts. But if you do pints in those tall ones, you can put another rack and double stack them. And I think you can get like, I won't say you can get 9 in the bottom and then do another 9 on top, or maybe 8 in each one. So something around 16, say, pints at a time. So running two canners definitely helps. If you can afford it and find them, and you plan on doing a lot of gardening this year, I would recommend that, and definitely recommend start trying to find jars if you need them and stocking up on lids. What places in our area are starting to get lids in now, and I've been trying to buy a couple packs every time I go and keep it stocked up because it's in coming in the summertime and the garden season, you ain't gonna be able to find them anymore. It's a bunch of people in our area that do can and stuff, maybe not on a big level, trying to prepare a year ahead of time, but kind of making little jams and stuff like that, you know, kind of hip hop jams. But anyway, we had a friend of ours that was trying to find jars to make things like that, and we were at a place, what 50 miles from here, something like that. There's not a Rule King in our area, but we know where one's at, and we made a trip one day to go check it out and all that. And they ended up having a few pint jars. They didn't have any quarts. They had half gallons and they had pints. And we messaged them and be like, they got some jars here, and they're like, yeah, please pick them up. So we did that, and tried to tell them, it's like, hey, next year you need to go ahead and be getting on that. So that's definitely something you might want to keep in mind. Deep South Bama with Mr. Tom. How you doing? I don't think I've ever seen you on here yet, but good to have you here. But yeah, um, a lot of times when the garden came in this year, especially with all the green beans and stuff, both of us working full-time jobs. One would be in with the kids, and one would be out picking with a flashlight. Or even if the kids were going to bed, one would be out picking with a flashlight. And a lot of times, one would be in the house, stringing the beans and running the canner and stuff like that. And that
Swap
was,
bucket.
yeah, that was back before we had these, which I don't have it on right now. It's right here. But definitely recommend these too, where you have, which you can have a regular headlamp with the band and all, but I don't like that. I wear a hat all the time, and I like being able to have it right there. So I have one, and she has one. So this year, when the garden comes in, we'll be making use of those. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. So the only thing about it, when you're out there picking with a flashlight, especially on your head, the bugs would just eat your face up. You'd be, picking beans and chewing on bugs. So anyway, I'll let you explain that a little bit.
Mm. Oh, there's not much else to say on the picking part of it, but as far as the canning goes, we had done string beans and squash before, but not much else other than that. And this year, we added to it meat and
Potatoes,
potatoes and corn, and we did jam this year,
which was really good.
and salsa and spaghetti sauce and ketchup.
Yep. On the spaghetti sauce and the ketchup, we used packets for it. Maybe this year we'll be able to find some more all natural and be able to make everything out of it. And on the potatoes, we have a cool, relatively dry space to put the potatoes. So we did some canned and we did some loose, and they didn't last hardly any time before they started getting, soft. And I mean, they got eyes on them that long. We planted a lot of them out here in the greenhouse, but I definitely like canning the potatoes, so you know that they'll store well. But yeah, Southern Boy, I definitely like the Olight stuff. A lot of people hate on them for being cheap, but I've had good luck with them. I like being rechargeable and the different products they make. I carry that one, the mini Perun, and the regular Perun, because if this one dies, if I use it a lot, it'll fit on that same clip. It's a little bit bigger and heavier, but it's nice being able to use that. And I will definitely, Lone Star, I will subscribe to Deep South Bama there. I'll have to look him up too, just like Southern Boy there when we get done with this. Um, I think that's one of the things with YouTube. There's a lot of channels, a lot of smaller channels that have really good stuff, but it's just hidden under so many of the big channels. I mean, I'm not knocking them. A lot of them are good channels and everything, but if you search preparedness stuff, they'll show you Canadian Prepper and Bear Independent, and those ones with like a million or 100,000 subscribers and stuff like that, where the ones on the lower end, unless you specifically look them up or you scroll through a bunch of pages of stuff, it doesn't really come up in like the recommended feed type of deal. Yeah, I have a few of them. I have all of the Peruns. See, I got this one here, and then I wanted the bigger one that would last longer, and I ended up getting the Perun 2 because I thought that the clip would be the same and be able to fit in this whatever you call it there, but it didn't. Still a really good light, and it's got the band and all that with it, but that's why I like this one, because I can use it on there and I always have it with me. Um, I made a EDC video the other day, but I hadn't released it yet. But one of my favorite things is this Tale of Knives leather organizer, they call it. I got the one with the metal clips instead of the where the belt goes through. But these clips are the best metal clips I've ever seen. I've had a couple of holsters that had them, but they wouldn't hold tension. You use them a couple times and they would just bend out. But these here, and the leather has held up. It's not cheap, but it's definitely worth the money. I wear it every day, homesteading and logging. But I got this originally cut for a Leatherman Wingman. This is the Wave Plus, but it still works. And this flashlight was for the Olight S1R Baton or something like that. They have that one has a really long, weird name for some reason. But anyway, the Perun fits in there just fine too. But I like that. It keeps them out of your pocket, and it sits on your belt really good, and it holds tension. I've never had it come loose or come off. But anyway, on a homestead, you definitely need a good flashlight and a good knife or multi-tool. If I could only pick one, I would go with the Leatherman Wave Plus, the multi-tool, over just a knife, because I use suppliers and the bit driver all the time. The Wingman was a really good tool for what it was, but I didn't know what I was missing on that bit driver. I use that thing all the time, doing everything, and the cutters are better too. Um, I've been trying to get her into more EDC stuff. She carries the Leatherman Squirt a lot of times, the small one, but it's still a pretty handy little tool. And like I said, I got her the hat with the light on it too. And it's pretty cool because she works more of a public job, and they come in and see that, and it's like, what is that?
Definitely a conversation piece.
Let's see.
Which I got an email the other day on Valentine's Day from Olight. Did you get one?
I honestly don't know. I probably did, but I didn't really look at it. But
So it came with a coupon, and it said part of it was, it's okay, you can go ahead and get whatever you want and just blame it on Cupid's arrow.
but yeah,
So
if I had more money, I would have a lot more. Um, I really won't. I have what is it now? The Warrior X Turbo. That's a really good light and a really good thrower, but they don't have a green or red lens for it. I ordered one, but it was for the Warrior X, not Turbo, so it wouldn't fit. So I would like to get one of them, or if I had the money to just get the Javelot, or however they say it. For I want to do some predator hunting, coyotes and stuff. We have a lot of them in this area, but I don't have a good light with that colored filter to hunt them with. And they have different lights, for predator hunting and stuff. But I would rather buy an Olight with a filter, just because I know that they're pretty good products. I've had good luck with them, and they're rechargeable and all. But that's ones I'd really like to get. I was also looking at the Fryer, I think it's called, the one where you can change the different colors from red to green or blue too, I think. But anyway, I hadn't seen enough videos online of seeing the throw distance of the colored lens type of stuff. I mean, they advertise it as like a safety light, being able to put the wand on in different colors for like flagging traffic and stuff. So I'm not sure how far it'll throw out, if it would be enough or what, but I would probably just go with one of the other ones and be able to get that lens for it and get the mounting bracket to go on the gun and everything too. But yeah, Southern Boy, I've had really good luck with it. I got this one last year, right when everything was popping off. March, maybe something like that. February, March, I ordered it, and I think it took 3 or 4 weeks to get something like that. And they have a lot of them online now. They have a bunch of knockoffs on Amazon and stuff for like $30, $40, and I'm not sure. They may be good quality, and I think this one was like 135. But like I said, I've had this one and used it enough that I can say this one definitely holds up and it's good quality. Like I said, when you put this on, you know it's got good retention. When you put it on the belt, it snaps down. You may be able to get one of those on Amazon or something that the belt goes through. I might would trust one of those versus those with clips because they're probably not as good a quality. But that's the tail of knives there. I forgot what model, but I really like having those clips where you can just snap it on and off pretty fast. Also, to start with, I was using a belt with a Cobra buckle, the metal buckles, and I didn't want to take the buckle off every time I, put it on. So I wanted the clips so I could just, put it straight over the belt and, go with it. Shredder Knife Reviews is here. How you doing, buddy? I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. I like to watch y'all's videos and stuff. It's really entertaining. And I like to see your boy on there testing them knives out and stuff. That's really cool. Southern boy, got my dad's Leatherman carry every day. That's really cool. I don't know where it is now, but I remember one time when I was a kid, my dad got one of the earlier models that came out. It didn't have any of the fancy stuff on like this one, and it was real thin and everything, but it was still a really good tool. And Leatherman always has a really sharp knife blade on it, which I think is really cool because a lot of the multi tools, the knife on it is not very good. Um, I like some of the Gerber products, but I got one multi tool of theirs. It's one of the bigger ones, but I forgot the name of it. But it's nowhere near the quality of Leatherman. And I had a couple of the small ones, the dime, and my dad had one too. I gave him one, and we broke all of them. I mean, we broke like 3 of them. Lone Star, regular old mag. Yeah, mag lights are good. Um, the benefit to them, they're heavy enough. If you don't have a weapon around, you can use that. But I really, it really is amazing with the O lights and different ones like Streamlight and everything of how small of a light they can make with so many lumens and things. So it's really interesting. Southern Boy Prepper. Where did you get that one at? Um, I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody in the chat, but if you're talking to me, let me know exactly what you're asking on that. Big Bearded Warrior, how you doing, buddy? Um, good to have you on here. We've got 7 people on here now. The carrier with the clips. All right. I ordered it straight from tailofknives.com. I'm not sure if you can get it their brand on Amazon or anything like that. You may be able to, but I ordered it straight from them. They got an Instagram page, and I think on Facebook they have a lot of advertisements on Facebook and stuff too. But like I said, they make a bunch of different things now. When I got this one, they make some now with a spot in the middle to hold a pen, and they make one with a clip on it to hold your keys, which would I really want it, but they didn't have it in the model with the clips on it, just the belt through. So I ended up just getting this. But they've added a lot more products now. They got different ones to fit different things, like Swiss Army knives or regular knives, like folders and stuff, like a Benchmade or whatever. So yeah, just go to their website and you can find one with the knife or tool combo with the light that fits what you have. But I feel like I'm doing all the talking now. What you got?
You're good at it.
Nah. But anyway, it's definitely interesting life around here most of the time. Also jump back and forth on random topics and whatever to be talking about one thing and start up with something else. Another thing we're talking about doing in towards the summer when the weather gets better, maybe being able to do some camping stuff with the kids and being able to do a little bit of bushcraft stuff and everything. We're not good at it, but that's another thing that she really enjoys is the bushcraft stuff. You care to elaborate on that?
No, I just saw the do you sell chickens? It's an interesting background there.
As a matter of fact, we really hadn't sold any yet. I have one rooster that is spoken for, but the guy's supposed to pick it up this weekend if the weather holds out and all that good stuff. But at this point, I'm really not looking to sell any. Like I said, I know this guy and he needs one is the only reason. The roosters we're planning on butchering for meat and things, but the chickens right now, I just want to keep building the flock. Um, Probably when they're not laying a lot now, being it's so cold and a lot of them are young. But when it gets summertime, we should have eggs running out of our ears. So I do plan on selling a lot of the eggs, and depending on how they do, we may butcher some more to get the numbers down and add them to you know meat storage and stuff. But right now, I think chickens are pretty easy to take care of and pretty cheap to maintain. So I say bring them on. I like to get. I always joke and say that I'm going to get to 1,000 chickens before I get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we'll see. But the chickens are one of my favorite things on the homestead, just because they are so simple and easy to take care of, and they're a good starter animal to get into because of that. And they also, produce eggs, so you do get something to eat without having to kill the animal versus like rabbits and goats, which you could get milk off some of the goats, but those things you would have to raise and then slaughter before they benefit you, where chickens, give you eggs every day, hopefully. Getting a lot of it. That's good. Um, Ours were laying pretty good, but then when it turned off so cold and everything, they've kind of shut down production a lot, um, which is weird. We've had a lot of like 30-degree weather days, and they didn't lay anything. And then over the past few days, when it's like nasty ice outside and 20 degrees, and they've kicked it into overdrive. So I thought that was weird, but anyway, is what it is sometimes.
We did sell some of the banny chickens, but I
Yeah.
think we'll just process those next time.
Yeah, we had a buddy of ours that took them to a sale at an auction place, and they only brought like, what was it, $2 or $3 a piece, something like that. So,
But it
like
was a lot of stock there.
that was, yeah, that was
The first sale of the year.
probably not a good time to do it, and maybe a different time, different people be there, or whatever, they'd want them more, and also being they're the Bantam breed, maybe they wasn't as valuable as full size chickens, depending on what people want and stuff. So I don't know. We hadn't had them long enough to know what sells good and what's worth a lot and stuff. Same way with rabbits. We got what 10 or 11 of the smaller breed rabbits. They're closer to wild rabbits, and like I said, I have to count them with the ones we just acquired of the bigger rabbits that are actually a meat breed, and they're probably, I'd say, at least 2.5, maybe 3 times bigger than the smaller rabbits that are like wild rabbits. What I've seen in different groups and stuff, that a lot of people were wanting like $30 or $40 for one of those full size rabbits. So I'm not sure what the smaller ones would bring, but that may be something we look into more as we start raising them. Grew up on a ranch, but not my kids. We're getting chickens for the first time this year. Oh yeah, it's definitely fun, and I think they'll enjoy it. Also, a funny story on that. Last year, for our middle kid's birthday, we had our preacher over, and he has a boy. He's like 7 or 8, and they didn't have any of this homestead stuff and all. And he was playing with the chickens and enjoying them. And we had some small ones at the time, probably like that, a couple of weeks old or something. And we gave them one to take home, and they were not prepared, so they had to have them in the inside to begin with, and then the next day they had to go get a heat lamp and a little like cage or box to keep them in, and they ended up liking them. They got like 5 or 6 to go with them, and then they got some more later on and stuff. So I think he's got what 10, 12, 13 now, something like that of them. But anyway, we figured we get them, get them into it and stuff. So
What about where you get the chickens from? As if Tractor Supply or the quality of chickens from it, because we haven't had very good luck buying them from a store.
yeah, and as a matter of fact, I got to take a bathroom break, so I'm going to let you tell the story.
So we got the first time we got about 6 chicks from Tractor Supply, and we ended up with one out of the bunch, and we raised her in the house because it was dead of winter. But the second time we got them from them, we got 4, and we only ended up with half of them living, and that was in the summer. So it really didn't seem to make a difference on time of year. It just wasn't really a good crop. And they were supposed to both be the same chickens that we got the last time, and they look completely different. So I'm not sure what was going on there. And he mentioned Roll King, and they had a couple different options, but it wasn't something that we could take back with us that day. So we didn't get any from there.
Yeah. Our buddy, like I said, that we gave the one to, and then they got some more. He lives near Rural King, and that's where he got all his other ones from. And I don't think he lost any. They didn't have any problems out of them. But we got ones from Tractor Supply like 2 or 3 different times, and you were lucky to keep 1 or 2 out of 6 alive for whatever reason. They would be fine one day and just like that the next day. What's that? Few surprises on the chickens.
Between the white one and the brown one that we got.
Yeah, Southern boy, I hear you on that. I'd rather have the ones that have been, incubated and hatched out versus buying them from a box store. I think they've, more healthy and kind of been taken care of better and lost some to dogs. So far, we hadn't had a lot of trouble with that. The first couple of pens I built, we built them with chicken wire, and then we run like dog lock wire or rat wire, we call it, around it to make it harder to get in. But when we had a couple chickens here before, like 7 or 8 years ago, we did lose pretty much all of them to dogs then. So we kind of learned on that, and we kind of let them free range then too, and that what didn't work very good for the amount of dogs and predators we have in this area. So we do all pens now instead of free ranging. Um, And I built the rabbit pen out there. I kind of let them run around on the ground and stuff. The bigger meat ones we have in cages, so we can kind of manage them better. But the other ones, we just wanted them to be able to run around, let the kids play with a little bit and stuff like that. But I built that pen out of pallets, and then I covered it with wire, and that would honestly work pretty good for the chicken pens too. If we were going to build them again, I'd probably do that because it would give you more protection on predators getting in versus just wire, and kind of a more sturdy platform. And you don't really need posts in either. You would just be able to screw them all together with those long wood screws and then just cover it with wire. And, you know, either cover wire over top of it, or if you wanted to make like a where you could be able to stand up in there, you'd have to make like a roof on it. But we have some of our pen where you can stand up in, and then the rest of it, we would just let the chickens in. We just, come up as high as the wire is, and then we'd run wire over top of it and just kind of make like a tunnel type deal.
As far as with the dogs getting the chickens, like you said, we haven't had any problems with that personally, but some of our neighbors have. And in between the two, the dogs got the in between house with the chickens. And they disciplined the dogs with the dead chicken. And now the dogs will not go anywhere near a chicken.
The first goat we had, we started out with one, like she was saying earlier, and something got in there and killed it. We wasn't here, so we don't know exactly what it was, whether it was like a coyote or something, or a dog come by or whatever. But we lost that one to it. But so far, we've had pretty good luck with the rest of them. I don't know if having more out there is more intimidating, or just where we kind of redid the pen a little bit. But so far, back in the summer, a lot of times you go outside at night, you hear coyotes, raising Cain all out in the woods near here. But so far, we have a few dogs out here too, and they bark and raise Cain. Maybe that kind of deters them a little bit. I like to put some small solar lights on all of my pens, the chicken pens, the goat pens, all that stuff, where if something did come by, the light would come on like that, and it would kind of keep a lot of stuff away, I believe. All right, Lone Star, good night to you, and we appreciate you coming on. And we're coming up on about the 2 hour mark, so we're going to hang it up here shortly. Yeah, Southern Boy, I hear you on that too. Yeah, I'm going to have to look y'all up and subscribe and everything. Appreciate y'all coming on here. And we're going to go ahead and hang it up and head to bed too. So stay prayed up, prepped up, and strapped up. See ya.